Hello all. Welcome to the January edition of What's Happening in Avni webinar. A quick overview of our agenda over here. First, for all of those who are new to Avni and have joined for this webinar, I'll give a quick introduction of what Avni is. Then we'll have a demonstration of new features that we've developed during the month of January. Then we'll have a quick look at what's coming up in February. We will have experience sharing by a couple of users of Avni. First, we have Sharmishta Das from Save the Children, and we have Raghav from Young Warrior Next project. So quickly moving on to the introduction. What is Avni? Avni is an open source software as a service platform with mostly drag and drop style MIS. Using Avni, you can build your own management information system using its app designer. You can extend the capabilities by using various extension points. So far, you had to write small snippets of JavaScript for that, and we are soon introducing drag and drop kind of features for that. You'll have a sneak peek during this call. Once the MIS is set up, uh, you can collect, users can collect data using Android application, web application, or even there are options to upload data using CSV and or connect with so there are well documented APIs using which you can push and pull data from Avni. There are ways to set up reports in the custom mobile application for the users to be able to see various indicators. And then there are like we set up reports and dashboards on using open source tools like Metabase or Jasper. So there are ways to build analytics using a platform or BI tool of your choice. All of this is hosted on a cloud infrastructure, so you can just create an account and get started. What are the different applications where Avni can be used? The first and foremost is case management. When you want to do longitudinal tracking, whether it is individuals, households, trees, or water bodies, anything like that, or you can use it for surveys, baseline, endline, so on and so forth, and in cohort-based research studies. These are some of the domains where Avni has been used. Health has been where majority of the use case has been. But in last 2 to 3 years, we've had done variety of projects on different domains like water bodies, rejuvenation, sanitation, social security, waste management, and so on. The Avni has been used in more than 30 projects so far by 3,000 users and has benefited close to 1 million beneficiaries across the country. So now we will look at the new features that we have developed in January. These are some of the features that we've developed and we would be showcasing. First is having custom fields in search results. Another is quick edit in the forms and jump to summary. And another thing that we'll look at is we've been working on rule designer, which will be rolling out in the month of February. These efforts for developing these features have been supported by various projects using Avni. Like for example, in case of custom fields in search results, it's been Shelter and Ashwini who needed that feature and supported development of it. And similarly for quick edit and jump to summary, Hasirudala has supported. For rule designer, we received grant from FOSS United to be able to develop that feature. So I think next I will hand it over to Vinod to demonstrate these features. And yeah, let's look at them.
Thanks, Arjun. So I will share my screen now. Let me know if my screen is visible.
Yes, it's visible, Vinod.
Okay. Hello everyone. So the two features that we'll be talking about is the custom search fields set, like how do we set up, and we'll also look at the use case. Why is it required? The second feature is about the quick edit in the form. So let's see. Regarding the custom search result fields, basically there are use cases where you want to distinguish the record, like when you search a record, and you want to distinguish it based on some custom fields. So there is a use case from the shelter where they are recording the household information, and many time household number is same, and they want to distinguish it based on the survey date or the head of the household name. So in that case, they can set these fields, and these fields will be visible in the search result. Similarly, there is another use case from the Ashwini, where they record a unique ID called Sangam number, and they want to distinguish each record using that Sangam number. So we'll see similar use case as Ashwini. So here in my application, I have some records, and I have a person named Arun. So if I search using that name, so you see there are two records with the similar name, and using this list, I cannot say which Arun Kumar is which one. So, so to solve this problem, so I'm in my app designer, we can set these search result fields. So there is an option of search result field, and I can quickly, so let's add the father name, and let's also add one unique identification. So these are recorded when I register a person. So I'll save it. And now when I sync my app, okay, let's again now search for the same name. So this time you see that their father's name and as well as their unique ID number comes along with some of the static fields. So this is how this feature is useful to basically distinguish the record. And so similarly in the data entry app also, if I basically search here, so in the search result here you can see the father name and the unique identification gets added. So it works in the field app as well as in the data entry app. Okay, so this is about mm, uh, the custom search result fields and how you can set it up. Okay, so the next feature is quick form edit feature, and so using this feature, a user can skip. They can directly land up to the page where the record is present, and they want to edit the record. And once they have edited the record, they don't have to visit the page, all the pages which are after that record. They can directly jump to the summary page and save the form. So let's first see how the usual workflow used to look like. So suppose this is my registration form, and I want to edit it. So I'll click on edit, and I'll go to next page and keep on clicking next till I land to my desired page, and I'll change the record, and then I have to again do the next till I land to the last page. But using this, I can directly jump to the page where my record is present. So suppose I want to change some identification, something in the identification page. So I directly click identification, and here I change some record. And now I don't have to basically, if I don't want to change anything after this page, I don't have to basically do next. There is the new option at the top which says summary. So clicking it, I'll go to the last summary page, and finally I can review all my changes here, and I can save it. So this feature is really helpful when the form is long and user want to edit something in between, and they don't have to visit all the pages. So yeah, so these are the two features, and so we have already released it. uh, if you want any help in setting it up, do let us know. That's all from me. Thanks. uh, So next, I think Vinay can demo the rule designer. So over to you, Vinay.
Thank you, Vinod. As you all know, we've been having the app designer which you can use to design an app for quite a while now. There is one big problem with the app designer that we're facing at this point, which is essentially that the rules that you write are required to be written in JavaScript. Now, this poses two problems. The first is that our own implementers take a lot of time to develop a bunch of forms. And the second is that today, about 4 different implementations are designing these forms themselves, and it is taking time for them as well. And going forward, we would actually want to lower the barrier to entry for designing an app within Avni. Let me show you what I really am talking about here. Imagine that I have a form called the weekly water intake form, which essentially has 3 questions. How much water did you drink? Is the first question. If you look at it, it has to be definitely between 50 and 0. And anything between 20 and 30 is normal. So this is a dummy form that we have for this demonstration purposes. And the second question is, why was it so low? And I want to ask this question only if the value of the weekly intake form is less than 20. Otherwise, this question does not make sense. And if it is less than 20, I do want to make it mandatory. So you can see here that the question is marked as mandatory. However, the way you make sure that it is shown only when the value is less than 20 is by writing rules. You can see here that a bunch of JavaScript is written here. What I can do is I pre-created a JavaScript snippet which will help me do this for me. I'm going to paste that here. If you read this, it essentially shows that, just read this part which says, show when the value in encounter water tank this week is less than 20. You could potentially also do like an is less than 20 if you want to, and then status builder.build. Now, I'm not going to save this. I'm going to show you how it looks like without saving it. Now you would see that both these questions are showing up and both these are mandatory. Now, let me come back and save this and refresh the screen. You'll see that the value has gone away. And I'm going to put a number less than 20, so 10. Unfortunately, it's not showing up, which essentially means there's something wrong with this rule. I don't really know. Actually, I know what is wrong in this case. The fact here is that I missed out a space here, which you would typically find a lot of time trying to figure out why it really happened. But once I do that, if I come back to the form, you'll see that it will be working as expected. So the question comes when I have a value of 12. The question does not come when I have a value of that's greater than 20. Now that's cool, but and the rule itself is pretty straightforward, but this is not really very easy to write for a newcomer. So this kind of reduces this increases the amount of effort and the amount of expertise you need to develop an app form. So instead, what we have here is, I'm going to go to the admin, the organizational details, and enable this new feature called the rule designer. Now, this is right now still under development, and the final version will be released by end of this February, but this is just a sneak peek into how this would really look like. I'm going to refresh this page. Thanks. Come back. Why was it so low? Back to the rule, and you'll see that a bunch of new widgets have come here. So you could essentially have like multiple rules for everything. Here I'm going to select the value of water tank this week in this encounter is less than 20. And what do I need to do when I show form element? So essentially I'm saying that I need to show the form element with the value of concept water drank this week in this encounter is less than 20. Now let me save that. Once it's done, I'll come back and look at the rule. Actually, it didn't really happen. So what you have to really do is match up and add new rule, and then you have to do a validate and generate rule. This is when it actually happens. And once this time you save it, come back here, refresh the page. It works pretty much like what it was before. But the good part is I didn't have to write a JavaScript snippet, and instead I could essentially just go through like a drag and drop widget, which helps me do this. You could do a lot of these things, a lot of complex things along with it. Like you could add a new rule, which essentially says that again, water tank this week is say earlier it was less than 20. I can even say greater than 5, for example. Only if it's between 5 and 20 it will show. If it's below 5, it doesn't really show. You could also add this with a completely different rule condition, and you could do more actions like show form elements, skip answers, add a validation error. Eventually, this will also come to decisions that you make and the visits that you schedule. These are features that have not yet been built, will be most probably ready by end of this February. And most probably there will be slight changes in the way this is shown, but the basic concept eventually will remain the same. With that, let me hand it over to Arjun.
Okay, thanks, Vinay. Yeah, as you said, we're quite excited about this feature, rolling it out. We hope that this feature, making it available, will make Avni accessible to many more organizations and many more projects, especially the smaller ones, where they don't have necessarily the budget to hire a technical partner. And that's what is stopping them to digitize their data collection or case management work on the ground. Next, we would look at like some of the features. I mean, just take a so just to give you an idea what we will be working in February. So, like we mentioned, Rule Designer will be rolling it out in February. Then we are also planning to work on introducing validations in CSV upload. Like right now, the CSV upload does not take care even if fields have been marked in as mandatory, or if there are like numeric validations or any other such validations. It just allows even if the data is incorrect, but we would be introducing these kind of validations so that it gives error when the file is being uploaded to ensure that data is quality. Another feature that we'll be working on, one of the tools that we use for reporting is Jasper, and when users have to access images from these reports, then we had to, because the images are stored on S3, and we had to make those buckets public. But we'd be working on introducing a feature such that only authenticated users, and without having to make the buckets public, images will be accessible from these reports. These are the features required by Rejuvenating Water Bodies project, and the development will be supported by them. Apart from that, there would be some regular bug fixes and maybe some minor enhancements as well that we include in February. So with that, I think our updates specifically on the product development side gets done. Okay, so now jumping on to our next segment of the webinar, where we have some users of Avni sharing about their experience of using it, and also talking about their projects. So we learn about how they are, what the overall context of the project is, and how they are using Avni and how they're finding it. So first we have Sharmishta from Save the Children Assam team. Just a brief about the project. So Assam's tea industry is its biggest source of revenue, as the state is the largest producer of tea in India, like we all know. However, despite decades of building a dedicated economy from tea, the condition of local laborers has only worsened. Children are the worst affected in this situation, as they are not only forced to work and contribute to the family income, but are also subject to dropping out from schools due to poor educational infrastructure, trafficking, early marriage, domestic violence, abuse, and exploitations. Save the Children India has been working in the Dibrugarh and Jorhat districts to alleviate the situation and empower the children and communities. by engaging with them and other stakeholders like media, legislators, etc., tracking vulnerable children, conducting training and events, and more. They're using Avni for this project. Using Avni, they are tracking right from all the households, children, to recording events and meetings, trainings, etc. Some data about the facilities that they have set up, like child-friendly corners, etc. So let's hear more from Shamishta Das, more about the project and their experience of using Avni. Over to you, Shamishta.
Of recording the trainings that has happened with the various stakeholders. Along with that, we have included the feature of including the pre and the post assessment scores during this training, so that we can see what change it has happened and can help in our understanding as well as in the reporting purpose as well. The records related to the meetings, events, along with the participants' details, topics discussed, or generated reports, also along with the photographs, can be stored in this app and can be used in our further reporting or further engaging in the programming. The functionality of the various community level support groups like the adolescent groups and VLC PCs can also be tracked in this app, and it also tracks the functionality of the common service centers and the child-friendly corners in the police stations that we have developed in support with Save the Children. The system also supposed to share the monthly plans of all the project staffs across the structure and the respective approvers online. That also helps the team to interact within them, and also there are features like broadcast and all which can be used in this platform as well. And the programmers also track the target activities as well as the respective achievements, which helps the program to be monitoring and providing supportive supervision. With the unique ID feature, the system also helps in reporting the total number of people that we have reached out throughout the project period and also across the activities within the intervention. And this was very critically required for our internal reporting mechanism as well. The reports that we generate gives information not only on the output and outcome levels as per the project need plan, but also like how many people have been removed from the vulnerabilities. By categories we can see children support, education and the skills training, then how many have been given access to the social security schemes, be it at the family level or at the beneficiary, at the unit, the children or the beneficiary level, and also the reach reporting and the programmers tracking. So far, the experience has been really great in working with 719 team. Since the inception of the assignment, the cooperation and support we have received at every level was very timely and apt. During the initial phase of rollout, the field mobilizers definitely were quite apprehensive about the system, as it was very new to for them and they were more used to in keeping records in hard copy. Now, with the job aid feature as well as how it is helping them in tracking and reporting, they have gained confidence and have been enthusiastic so far. And we are looking forward to more features in Avni platform and the guidance and technical support to the team for smoothing out the system. Best wishes to the team and thank you from my side. I will stop here. Over to you, Arjun.
Thanks so much, Shamishta. And I would like to, a very interesting point that I found while working on this project was how detailed you were about giving the requirements. So this was probably our biggest implementation in terms of number of forms involved and number of overall subject types is what we call entities involved, and even the fields overall. So yeah, it was really a fun experience developing this application, and hoping to soon see it on field, as we are planning a field visit as well there to Assam. So hoping that to see everything live in action as well soon and learn something more from there. Thanks a lot.
Sure,
Uh,
Arjun. Thank you.
yeah. And next, over to Raghav to give a brief about the YWNXT project and how Avni is being used over there and how they're finding it. So just a quick introduction. So YWNXT, or Young Warrior Next, is a coalition of UNICEF, Udayam Learning Foundation, Dell Foundation, and other partners to identify and pilot 16 interventions on delivering essential life skills and prepare them for employability in the future. This is for the youth in the age group of 14 to 18 years. and they're working right now on generating evidence to identify the impact and engagement from different models being tried out on the ground. And that's where the need for data collection and analytics comes in. And that's where, I mean, Avni is also getting used. So over to you, Raghav, to share more about the project and how Avni is being used.
Sure. Thanks a lot, Arjun, for setting up that context. As Arjun has stated already, the program is Young Warrior Next, which we kind of abbreviate to say YWNXT. And it's, as Arjun stated, it's a coalition of UNICEF, Dell Foundation, Udyam Learning Foundation, and about 10 other life skill partners that we have in India. The idea and the objective of the program, as Arjun stated, is to collect evidence, is to generate evidence around engagement as well as the impact that life skill interventions can have in India for adolescents, which are, I mean, in the age of 14 to 18. Now, as part of the overall objective, we're doing about 15 different life skills programs across 12 states of India, which are overall impacting about 1 lakh learners. Now, the each of the pilot program that I'm talking about, each life skill program has its own model, and this model has its own use of a certain level of facilitation, which is synchronous classroom teaching, and as well as maybe some use of technology. So maybe an LMS or a WhatsApp bot or a Facebook group. So each and every program is unique in its own way. They're teaching a unique set of content, and they're teaching it in their own unique way, which may some of it may have classroom teaching, some of it may not, and some of it has some kind of tech, and some of it may not. So it's very unique kind of 15 programs that we're conducting as part of the overall project across the country. One particular project where where we're implementing Avni is a program which is being implemented by the Cavalier Education Foundation in Junjunu district of Rajasthan. Just explaining a bit about the model itself. So Cavalier has partnered with the district administration in this Junjunu district in Rajasthan, wherein they have 100 government schools across classes 8 to 12, where about 10,000 learners are enrolled in this program, and they're teaching socio-emotional and ethical learning, right? So that's the curriculum. The main problem statement and why we really brought in the use of Avni in this case was the idea that because this program is being delivered in schools by the school teachers, we wanted to collect attendance, right? To be able to say that how many learners actually came to the classes and how much did they learn. Now, in the current way, there is no digitization, and the process of collecting attendance in these government schools is entirely offline, right? So it's all the regular attendance notebook, attendance register that a teacher maintains in every class and every school. So the problem statement there really was that how is it that we will be able to digitize and collect this attendance data on the learners, so that we're able to meaningfully analyze it and be able to draw insights around how effective the program was. Now, this is where Avni stepped in, Samanvay stepped in with Avni. And the idea was that we give instead of recording the attendance manually on classroom registers, which may be hard to digitize, the idea was to create these attendance registers on the Avni app itself, right? And so what we did to be able to do that was we took the data, student data for these 10,000 learners spread across these 100 schools. So we took the student data organized by classes, and we gave that to the Samanvay team, who very quickly kind of digitized that, who very quickly kind of created the Avni app for that. And then we deployed the system on the ground through Cavalier Education Foundation's consultants. So there are about 8 consultants who are mapped across these 100 schools, more than 100 schools actually. So it's about 12 to 13 schools per consultant. And so these consultant visits these schools on a periodic basis, takes the attendance from the teacher attendance register, and just very quickly digitizes them on the Avni app itself. Now, what this enables us to do is one thing is to be able to see how regularly the classes are being delivered, what is the overall attendance level in these classes, And the other thing is that for the first time even in Cavalier's implementation, they've been able to find this kind of a solution where they're also able to have some kind of a dashboard where they can see at an overall level what is the attendance percentage, and which all of their consultants who are working on the ground, whether they're actually using the app to record attendance or not. So in that way, I think it's a first for Cavalier Education Foundation as well in terms of being able to digitize this data. And given the simplicity of the Avni app, which is that everything is already pre-scheduled, there is nothing that the consultant has to do except for pick a date and select the class and just input the data on which student was present or absent, right? And then simply sync the data whenever internet is available. So in that terms, as I said, it's a first for Cavalier, and it's been the implementation and the rollout has been fairly smooth, given two things. One is given the simplicity of the app itself, and the fact that it's not very data
पेज
heavy.
उसको सेट कर दिया हूँ, मेल करने वाला था, मैंने कहा कॉल कर.
Sorry, Vinay, can you put these guys on mute? Yeah, right. So that is one. The other is also the seamless support that has been provided by the Samanvay team to us as well. So whenever issues have come up in terms of, some student data being missing, or, being us having the need to visualize some dashboards, all of those things were resolved quite promptly by the Samanvay team as well, particularly Vinay and Garima in their team. And so I'd like to thank them for that as well, given that there is scope for a lot of things to go wrong if you're trying to get an app rolled out on the ground, especially where internet may not be regular or there may not be very high tech friendliness. But given the simplicity of the process as well as the seamless support provided by the Samanvay team, we do think that the app has been taken up really well by the Cavalier team. So again, grateful to the Samanvay team for being proactive and helping us really find a solution in this case.
Yeah, thanks so much, Raghav. And another interesting part for me on the project was how we initially thought that for all the 18 or 19 partners, we would use Avni, and then we came to a pragmatic solution which would work really well on the field, which is like some people exporting data from the learning management system, some people actually entering it on spreadsheets, and wherever it was possible, then entering it directly in Avni application. I mean, using an Android and phone and an offline application to enter the data directly on the spot. So I think that was that's really a unique and interesting part that we had in this project, how data from different sources is coming and then helping in creating a collective understanding.
Absolutely. Arjun, if I may, can I just ask if Rajendra ji is here from the CAF team, if he wants to share their experience? Rajendra ji, aap hain yahan pe?
Yes, please.
No, I don't think he's here. I did give him the link, but I don't think he's joined. Sorry, we can move on then.
हेलो राघव. हाँ, मैं हूँ राघव.
अच्छा, आप हैं राजेंद्र जी?
जी जी जी, थैंक यू
जी. आप अगर थोड़ा just for context, Rajendra ji is our primary point of contact on the ground from Cavalier's team. राजेंद्र जी, अगर आप थोड़ा अपने एक्सपीरियंस शेयर कर सकते हैं अवनी ऐप को यूज करने के बारे में, और पहले आप कैसे करते थे और अब अवनी ऐप से आपको क्या एक्सपीरियंस रहा है आपका?
जी, थैंक यू राघव. तो एक्चुअल में डेटा कैप्चरिंग का पहले जो मीडियम हमारा होता था वो तो हार्ड कॉपी में हुआ करता था, और या फिर हमारे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन लेवल के कुछ ऐप्स थे वहाँ हम करते थे. लेकिन इस तरह का ऐप हमारे पास कोई ऐप नहीं था जहाँ पे स्टूडेंट्स का डेटा को कैप्चर कर सके. तो डेफिनेटली इस ऐप का इस्तेमाल से हमें काफ़ी सहूलियत रही है, और बच्चों को ट्रैक कर पा रहे हैं कि कितने बच्चे पर्टिकुलर एक्टिविटी में पार्टिसिपेट कर पा रहे हैं, और यही डेटा हमें हेल्प करता है टीचर के साथ नेक्स्ट प्लानिंग करने के लिए कि भाई कितने बच्चे फर्स्ट एक्टिविटी में पार्टिसिपेट किए तो सेकेंड एक्टिविटी के लिए कितने बच्चे ऐसे हैं जो छूट रहे हैं, उनको हम ट्रैक कर सकते हैं और उनको हम इंश्योर कर सकते हैं पार्टिसिपेशन उनका. तो काफ़ी मदद मिल रही है. ऑल्सो मुझे अगर मैं डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल पर बैठ करके मेरे ऑल 4 ब्लॉक्स का अगर डेटा देखना चाहूँ तो मैं भी उसको देख पाता हूँ कि कितनी एक्टिविटीज पर कंसल्टेंट द्वारा स्कूल्स में करवाई गई है, कितने पे काम ठीक से हो रहा है कि नहीं हो रहा है. सो काफ़ी अच्छा है ये ऐप, और मतलब काम करने में सहूलियत है हमें। थैंक यू।
धन्यवाद राजेंद्र जी।
थैंक यू राजेंद्र जी। अभी मतलब कोविड के टाइम में स्पेशली मतलब फील्ड पे जाने का बहुत कम मौका मिलता है, तो आई मीन लाइक कॉल पे और मतलब इस तरह से फर्स्ट हैंड फीडबैक मिलना काफी मतलब क्या बोलना
जी
चाहिए,
जी जी।
इंस्पायरिंग होता है हमें, मतलब टू कीप ऑन डूइंग द वर्क एंड कीप ऑन इम्प्रूविंग द प्लेटफॉर्म दैट लाइक द प्रोडक्ट दैट वी आर बिल्डिंग। थैंक यू सो
यस
मच।
यस यस, थैंक यू।
Looking at the time right now, we left as such only 5 minutes as per the scheduled time. So, I mean, one way is to just do, if there are any questions, then just do 5 minutes and then wrap up. Or if people who are interested for to look at the drug management, how we are doing it using Avni, because that was one more item as part of the agenda, then we can maybe continue for another 10 minutes. So what does everyone feel, and what's comfortable with everyone or most? That's how we can proceed with this.
So one thing I would like to add, can I speak?
Yeah, yeah, please.
तो एक्चुअल में ये जो आप अपनी ऐप है थोड़ा सा स्लो वर्क करता है,
हाँ,
तो अगर इस पे थोड़ा सा हम काम कर पाए तो
सिंक
इससे थोड़ा
सिंक
हेल्प
बोल
होगी।
रहे हैं आप या फॉर्म्स में ट्रांजिशन बोल रहे हैं आप?
एक्चुअल में जब हम स्कूल वाइज स्टूडेंट वाइज जब जाते हैं तो जैसे ही जाके क्लिक करते हैं तो बहुत स्लो ओपन होता है वो।
अच्छा, ठीक है ना। आप अगर अगर उसकी स्क्रीन रिकॉर्डिंग अगर कर पाते हैं तो वो काफी हेल्पफुल रहेगा, और नहीं
श्योर
अगर
श्योर।
है तो ठीक है, विल वर्क विथ यू टू फिगर आउट, टू अंडरस्टैंड द इशू क्लियरली फर्स्ट, और फिर उसके बाद उसको कैसे सॉर्ट आउट करना है, कैसे रिजॉल्व करना है, विल वर्क ऑन दैट डेफिनेटली।
ओके, थैंक यू सो मच।
ओके, थैंक्स अ लॉट। Anyone else has any questions or comments? What should we do? If there are questions, I think let's take it first on any of the points or any of the items covered so far, and then we can decide on the next. Okay, it seems there are no questions coming up immediately. Is it okay if I continue? It will take another maybe 10 minutes to demonstrate the stock management, offline stock management, using how we've set it up for Swasthya Swaraj. Is it okay if we continue? Or like mainly, I think speak up if you would like that to be covered in a next call rather than now.
I think a lot of people do want to hear right now, Arjun. We should go ahead.
Okay, cool. So I think let me just share my screen. Can you give me that access, Vinay?
Done.
Okay. So here basically what we've done is that we've created another. So I think starting maybe stepping back to the problem statement. The problem statement from Swasthya Swaraj was that they have like multiple remote clinics in the rural and tribal areas, and these clinics or these health centers rather do not have internet, but the health centers or clinics are such that there are all the activities being done there, like there is consultation happening, and then there is prescription, and then there is drugs that are issued to patients. So there is a pharmacy, there is a drug that those are stored over there. So now what happens is drugs are usually procured in their main center, which is Bhavani Patna, and then the drugs, the stock is transferred to various health centers. Now a couple of problems that they were facing is one, running out of stock at these health centers, or otherwise drugs expiring because of not consumed within when they should have, before the expiry date basically. Now, what was the challenge? I mean, there are a lot of applications or a lot of systems to manage the stock, but the real challenge was because of the non-availability of internet. Otherwise, there are systems, there are ERP applications which can be used online. You can basically like manage the drugs across multiple centers. Also, you can create, you can have inventory, you can have locations, stock locations and all of that, and you can manage stock across locations, have some centralized report and all of that. But because of this non-availability of the internet, there was this challenge. We explored a few options, but we couldn't find a satisfactory option that we could easily extend, deploy, etc. So then we chose to go via the route of using Avni platform, because we brainstormed quite a bit. We explored whether to do it via Avni, whether to do it via something else, and then we finally settled in on doing it via Avni. It could be maybe because of our comfort level with Avni, but that's what we've done. So the model or the schema of Avni was fitting in well over there, to be able to model what is required for stock management. The key activities over there is someone be able to add drugs, someone be able to add a stock, like add quantity, then someone be able to remove stock, and someone be able to mainly that as part of the stock management. One of the calls that we took was that this would be like a one-way kind of stock management, because this is offline, which is like, you can, like if a center is transferring stock from one place to another place, then it will not be like a transfer really. What will happen is that they will remove stock, and then when the stock reaches to the other center, then they will add stock, because otherwise ensuring the consistency and the transactions are correct and everything will be a problem in the offline nature, because data is not continuously talking to a single database. It is like multiple databases, and then they sync with each other. And so but so model and all of that was fitting in well. But what was challenging was that the existing form based UI of Avni will be very confusing or complicated for this kind of use case. So what we decided was to develop another application, Android application, with a completely custom interfaces for this purpose, but it will talk to the server, which is the same server as rest of the projects using Avni. So with that background, I'll show how the application looks like, and we've developed some reports also that then work based on data from this application. So here I log in with a user, and this is how the login screen looks like on this application. This is another application available on the Play Store called as Avni Stock. So someone downloads an application and then uses this whatever username and password they've been allocated, like it happens in the other Avni application. Based on username and password, it recognizes the organization, and then the user logs in. Similar to the Avni application, it downloads all the form or any data, transactional data, etc. And once the sync is complete, the application is available to be used. What you see as the first screen is the drug listing over here. So these are all the drugs that have been already added in the system, and it's showing the drug name and the quantity over here. One can go to any of the drug and look at the past logs, stock logs, or restock level and the current stock, etc. These details. Or otherwise, the typical action that one does is like add a stock. So let's say I go to add a stock, and then I choose acyclovir dispensable over here, and I say quantity is 500. I say batch is AK 47589, and then I say expiry date, let's say sometime next year. So choosing 23 over here, and maybe 4th of April. So that's how this is chosen. And then I save it. So this is the stock that got added. And if you see this stock, maybe you've not noticed it, but the 500 got added to the quantity over here. Similarly, if I have to remove a stock, then this is the screen that I have to go to. The date is auto selected. You can, of course, someone can change that date, and then choose the drug, then choose the batch. This is the one of the batch that I have recently added. So this batch as an option is available over here. Let's say I say 200 over here. And then what I do is reason for removal. Now there are two types of two reasons for which removal can happen. It can either be directly in the health center where the medicine is being issued to the patient, which is effectively cell. Either you can have a cell as an option, or otherwise the drugs is being transferred from one center to another center, or maybe returned back to the pharmaceutical or something like that. So then if I choose transfer, then it gives these options over here, which is like transfer and then transfer to location, and then I do a save. So again, if you see, the quantity here has got reduced by that much quantity. So these are the key functions that are there. Now, one more important function that is there is to now look at the reports. So that is like adding and removal of the stock. But then, for example, here, what they regularly need to monitor is which all drugs need restocking and which all drugs are getting expired. So here, based on the restock level set on each of the drug, it says which all drugs need restocking. And then here, based on like various periods, it shows which all drugs are expiring. So till today, these are the drugs that are expiring. Like that, it might show a different list based on selected period over here. So this basically helps and helps. So this is used independently, I mean, in each of the health centers to manage the stock at their level. And then what happens is that all of this data they would periodically sync, like you do in the regular Avni application also. And then there are a bunch of reports that have been set up on this, which is like so there is a report which gives an indication of how much restock is needed, and they can have filters on month, year, location, drug. We've set up these reports on Metabase, which is one of the BI tools which we typically use in Avni applications. Then there is another report which gives an indication of which gives a report on expiry status. So these are some of the drugs which are expiring in next 15 days, next 30 days, next 60 days, so on. And then of course, I mean, there are filters also to filter by location, by center, or if you want to look at a particular drug and like that. Similarly, there are these stock registers that they were maintaining, and that helps them to get a bird eye view of what's going on all across. So we've just replicated those physical stock registers. So there is this stock register one, which gives a detailed view of a drug, their batch number, when it is expiring, at which center, whether the, I mean, it's just you can say a audit trail of what is happening with every activity, removal or addition of stock. Similar is this, which is like more at a aggregate level. It tells with what is the expiry date and then quantity received during a particular month and balance at the end of a month, and then utilization. So this gives them an idea of the utilization of the drug. So I've tried, considering the time, etc. I've tried to I hope I was not too fast, but that I think covers briefly what we've done as a solution to offline stock management using Avni. If there are any questions or comments on this, then that's most welcome. I was audible, right, all along?
Yeah, Arjun, you were audible.
Okay. Are there any questions in the chat box?
No, there are no questions as of yet. Is there
Okay.
anybody else who would want to take a closer look? Because there is no demo app or anything available for this stock management right now. Just checking if anybody wants to like take a look at it, or mostly looking at people from hospitals here.
I have a question, if I'm audible properly.
Yeah.
So as you said, Arjun, that this app, the stock app will be used at, can be used at individual centers, whether it's the PHC or the initial original parent facility. So my question is, the simplest one is that, are these linked with each other? Like if suppose from the parent facility, 200 tablets are dispensed to one PHC, then has it got some linkage that the PHC's stock will automatically show addition of 200 or something like that?
No. That's what I said, that this is not like a, like there is no, like automatic addition or deduction would not happen to the other center, because this is offline. You can consider them as separate databases that sync. So, yeah, it does not happen automatically when if a drug is transferred from one center to another center, the first center will do a remove stock, and then when the stock actually physically reaches that other center, then they will have to do a add stock over there. If they forget to do a add stock, then there would be an inconsistency in the data. But that, I think overall problem statement wise, that was not a major problem. To be able to manage their own stock and then sync and monitor all of this activity centrally, and to know where stock is falling short and all of that, that was the major statement. Because in an offline, it is a difficult problem to solve, offline setting.
Yeah, okay, then maybe manually the two data sets can be like tallied and tally, and then can find out the discrepancy. Thank you so much.
Does this, by the way, does this seem useful in your context? Because Ravi was talking about exploring using this application, but I'm not sure. After looking at this, do you still feel that this would be useful?
Ravi says yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Anyone else has any comments, questions on this?
Kannan wanted to hear it, but I don't see him online, so maybe we can talk about it afterwards as well.
He was there on the call. Maybe he dropped. He was not.
I think it's dropped right now. Oh, Kannan is still there. Kannan, I know you've been looking for some kind of offline stock management system, right? At for your sub-centers. Is this something that can help?
Maybe he's not in a position to talk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Down with cough and cold. Okay. Anyone else? Any questions or comments on this one or any of the previous items? Okay, quickly then, I think just to give you a preview of some of the things that we are going to be planning to work on in February. One is to finish the rule designer work and roll it out. Hopefully, we have an implementation starting in this month. So we're thinking of using the rule designer, like kind of eating our own dog food, starting to use it and see how does it feel, and if there are any rough edges, we'll try to smoothen it. But yeah, it will be production ready from February onwards, and then whoever wants to use it can use it. Another is that we are like there is CSV upload feature, but there were no validations like mandatory or any other type of validations were not there in the CSV upload. So one of the projects, RWE, rejuvenating water bodies, needs it, and they're supporting building this feature as well. So we are adding this. And similarly, there is image access from Jasper reports. So because the images are stored on S3, and they wanted to be able to access those as hyperlinks, and then be able to access those images from the Jasper reports. So we are building some feature so that that would be possible. So these are some of the major things that we would be working in February, apart from bug fixes and any other small enhancements that we may come across. Okay. I think if there's nothing else from anyone, then I think we can stop here. Thanks a lot, everyone, for joining in. Thanks a lot for all the feedback. If there is any feedback that comes to your mind after the call as well, then of course send it over email or via support ticket or anything.
Thank you, Arjun. It was informative also, and I liked it. I liked the session. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks. Thanks, Ramishta. Yeah. Thanks, Ravi. Thanks, Anish.